And here's one of the stars of the film, Daniel Wu. So I have to ask first off, what do you think life would be like if we had an actual reminiscence machine and could go into our memories?
I keep saying I like to go back to my high school days and living through high school. A lot of people was like high school was the worst part of their life, but from 16 to 18, those 2 years were probably like the most free part of my life. I mean, yeah, there were some pressures like trying to get into college and blah, 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 all that, but there was no real responsibility. I was living with my parents. I had a car. I could still go out and do things. And I had a really good core group of friends, five of them, one of which has passed away. So it'd be really nice to go back to that time now, to be able to be with that group of friends. We're still friends now, but to be able to go back to that era when we were all young and innocent and without kids, it would be really nice.
What did you think about your character?
She started off with his backstory. We talked about it slightly in the film, but he's a war has happened, a civil war has happened in the country. Some people have been interned, and there's a line where I say, people like me were interned where you were able to be drafted. So it's obviously some kind of racial trauma that's happened to the St. Joe character. So he's got like a serious chip on his shoulder. He's escaped the internship, the intern environment, and been able to rise up and become this gangster of New Orleans and take over the town. But with this chip on his shoulder on top of that. And so those things were really kind of interesting to be able to inject into a character and put into his backstory. But then things like he kind of adopts this Southern accent. He has a slight Southern accent, a little tinge to his voice. And we talked about how he may not be from New Orleans, but he's been there for a while, and how certain people, especially if you're trying to become a gangster and take over, you've got to like kind of ingratiate yourself into the community, right? And so that maybe he took on these little things, and so it's not a heavy local accent, but he's picked up on these things. And I talked about how to Lisa how when I was in New Orleans filming Into the Badlands, I started using New Orleans terms and words because all the crew and cast were like from New Orleans, and it was such a charming accent that I really loved it. And I go, can we do that? Because I've never seen a Chinese American actor have a Southern accent in a character before. I think that'd be really interesting if we're trying to make this character pop. Let's do that, but let's make it an interesting accent that he's not a real Southerner. He's just trying to be a Southerner.
Check out Reminiscence at Cinemark Theaters. Remember, you can get your tickets at cinemark.com.